Twin Cities, it's your good friend, it's your pal, it's your compadre, it's TC, everybody. How you doing for a Monday, February 20th of 2012? What's going on the big show today? Well, of course, the show is always about 3 parts. The first part is my journey, whether I'm angry, bitter, scared, happy, sick, crazy, whatever. My journey, and the show itself is my journey, so that's why I call it the My Journey segment. We'll talk about a potpourri of topics, including a little Tater Tot Hotdish. You know, I love my Minnesota hot dish. It's nothing better than that, you know. Anyway, so my journey, and then, of course, Twin Cities talk, since, well, you know, I'm a Twin Cities boy, and, you know, hey, TC, hey, Twin Cities. Of course, you can email me at tc@heytc.com. T for Twin, C for Cities. Little Twin Cities talk today, President's Day, and then we'll talk a little Walking Dead, the Vikings Dome Stadium, and a bunch of other stuff. A lot of stuff. Hopefully I'll get to it. I'm going to try to pace myself a little better in this show and not rush through topics, because sometimes I tend to rush through topics, which is, once again, goes back to my journey of just doing the show. Let's just do the show every Monday, every Thursday, see what happens, you know. Just got to do it, you know. You got to start somewhere. And speaking of starting somewhere, are you my first customer? If you're my first customer, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. How can I win you back? How can I make you my customer? Now, on the other end of the spectrum, I want to be your first customer. So coming up in First Customer today, well, we'll talk a little bit about, you know, what you can do to start your own business and, you know, get out of that crappy job, or get off welfare, get off unemployment, get off, what else is there? Social Security. Well, nobody's going to let you off Social Security, I don't think. But also disability, you know. Because one of the things that, well, we'll talk about that, actually, when the time comes. Let me actually edit my notes. I'm going to change that to disability. We'll talk about disabilities. And what it was like back, you know, when you and me were probably growing up. If you're an older person, or if you're a younger person, it was definitely different back then on what's a disability and what's a disability these days. So that's all coming up. So my journey, I'm still feeling a little nasally. In fact, I just want to take a big, deep breath now, because I've started talking. It seems I've still got a cold without having a cold. No runny nose, nothing like that. I'm just dealing with this. So hopefully it rectifies itself, but that, of course, is part of my journey. So what's going on in my journey today? Well, one of the things is that a week ago I started eating well, lost a handful of weight, and then last week kind of went down the toilet. Yesterday, bad day, ordered a pizza, not a Pizza Hut, a Domino's pizza for lunch, and then made dinner Tater Tot Hotdish. Now, I love my Tater Tot Hotdish, but it's also, there's a lot of sodium in it because you got the meat. I buy the 85-15, as I want that juice, man. I want to make it juicy, you know. You put a little butter in the bottom of the pan, not the when you're cooking the meat, but in the bottom of the oven roaster. And then, of course, you dump in the cream of chicken and the cream of celery, and then a little tater tot crowns from Ore-Ida. And oof, it was brilliant. It was everything I hoped it would be. There is leftovers. I look forward to eating the leftovers. I know I shouldn't be. Then I got some of those Hawaiian rolls to go with it. You ever had those? Oh, those are so good. I love those. Just so soft and tender and Hawaiian-y. I love me some Tater Tot Hotdish. And actually, Jennifer had it with me as well. And I think she liked it too, because she went back for seconds. And I said, hey, I'm a very good cook of, it's only really the only hot dish I make. Of course, there's like the spaghetti hot dish, which is like the elbow noodles and, you know, tomato sauce and hamburger. My mom put sugar in it, which is kind of weird, but I love that too. But I don't make that. My mom and my aunts make that. So let's see. Any other hot dishes I like? Not really. Those are the 2 staples of my life when it comes to hot dish. What about you? If you got a hot dish you want to tell me about, I'd love to hear from you, you know. Of course, it's tc@heytc.com. Also today, I'm wearing a new deodorant. Saturday was a busy day for us, and we went out and got a lot of stuff done. And I bought some new deodorant. Usually I like the stuff. I don't like the smell any kind, you know. I just got kind of that no smell approach, you know. Not a good smell, not a bad smell, just no smell. just let my natural aura take over. Except when I've eaten the beans and stuff, then you don't want to be around me. Ooh-wee, child. Anyways, the new deodorant smells a little like Christmas. I don't know why I'm telling you this, but and I like the white. I don't know if you're a guy, you can probably relate to this. Different deodorants treat me different ways. If I buy the clear, maybe it's all subconscious, but I've bought the clear before, and it's just like raised heck with my underarms. Oh, yeah, I can't believe I'm talking about this, but, whatever. But so I got to always buy the white. It's always about the white. I got to get the white I can't even say it, underarm deodorant. So now I smell like a Christmas tree the last couple days, so I don't know. I'm sure I'll get used to it. Jennifer likes it, but, it's still kind of oogie. Oh, you smell so good in your pits. Ew, 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 stinky. Also, I got some new underwear as well. One of the things that it seems to me is that, unfortunately, it seems a little big in the crotch for me. But hopefully I'll grow into that. Nothing? All right, well, that was my little self-deprecating joke. So anyways, have a little fun with that. Also, the new music, of course. Last show I was deciding, because I was kicking the Foo Fighters to the curb, because anybody that's going to go out and fundraise for a politician, whether it's a Democrat, Republican, or a communist party, like I guess like Sean Penn and Danny Glover love, the Hugo Chavez's and the Fidel Castros of the world. I really don't want to be involved with those people. So I ended up going through my catalog, and I found a great song from the band Tonic. Put out a great album back in 98, 97, I believe it was. A really good album, and this is one of the songs from it. I think the song is Casual Affair. And this is kind of a casual affair, right? So hopefully the boys in Tonic aren't too political, and they can be apolitical. I know I'll try to do that as well. Be apolitical. In fact, all I'll do is rail against the establishment of politics, So it is President's Day after all, actually. So actually, let's get to Twin Cities talk. Of course, one of the things I like to say when it comes to President's Day and Happy Valentine's Day, I'm trying to do that this year, is just wish everybody happy holidays. I'm going out of my way to not say like Happy President's Day or Happy Valentine's Day, because, I don't want to offend anybody, because God forbid that person's sensitive, just fragile nature would be so offended if I wish them a Happy President's Day. What if they don't celebrate President's Day? Oh my God. The pain and agony that would result, and this poor person would probably have to go into therapy, end up on welfare, and who knows whatever else. It's just, so I don't want to be responsible for wishing someone a happy President's Day only to find that they did not celebrate President's Day, and they would become offended because they're douchebags. Oh, did I say that? Anyway, so of course that's my reference to happy holidays around the Christmas time. So I just want to say Merry Christmas, also Happy Hanukkah. That is all. So there you go. So President's Day, of course, who's my favorite president? I'm going to go with George Washington, because the guy did not want to be president. And then after he was president, he said, after his one term, he said, I'm done. Now we just have these narcissistic douchebags as presidents that, just can't wait to be president, want the, lavish luxury. They want to be king, basically, it seems, with so many of these presidents since probably the turn of the century, not this turn of the century, mind you, but when we turned from the 1800s to the 1900s. I think that's when the presidents really started going down the crapper, in my humble opinion. So anyways, there you go. So George Washington is my favorite president, though, of course, Abraham Lincoln, also a very good president. He took a little bit too much power, but thankfully he gave that power back at the end of the day. Actually, speaking of presidents, I was watching this thing on the History Channel this weekend, yesterday, when I was batching it on a Sunday afternoon when Jennifer was out with a friend in Roseville, having a good old time out there at Good Earth and Sephora, and where else did they go? I don't know. She told me over at Rosedale. But I was batching it, and I was watching this thing on John Wilkes Booth about how apparently the guy who shot and killed John Wilkes Booth was kind of this really religious zealot who had been to prostitutes, and he wanted to stop going to prostitutes, so the guy decides to castrate himself. And that was the guy who killed John Wilkes Booth. And John Wilkes Booth sounds like your typical lunatic, Oh, Abraham Lincoln was a tyrant. He was destroying, blah, blah, blah. All these guys that try to kill presidents, whether it's John Hinckley or what's the guy in the book Suppository, to quote Full Metal Jacket, the guy. Lee Harvey Oswald. There you go. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I had my friend here saying something. It was Neil Peart from Rush, everybody. Neil Peart in the studio. Thank you very much, Neil Peart. Neil knows his stuff. What else is going on in Twin Cities Talk today? Revolution. The revolution has begun. Well, there's been a revolution of the reunion. Of course, last night, if you haven't heard, at First Avenue, the Revolution got back together, and that's Wendy and Warren Z and Tasty and McNugget and also Larry, the cable guy, or something like that. I don't know who's in the Revolution. I just know that they were a cool band. Of course, they were the backing band for Prince back in the heyday, right about the time when Purple Rain came out, and through another album. I don't quite remember. Maybe it's the Kiss album. I don't know, whatever. So anyways, they got back together for a reunion show. Of course, everybody was hoping that Prince would show up. He didn't. I kind of had a feeling that he wasn't going to show up because, I don't know. It just didn't feel right to me. But still, to, I guess, see the Revolution get back together and do a show at First Avenue was probably pretty cool. Apparently, had like 1,500 people there, and very nice. It would have been fun to go, but no. And then, of course, beforehand, a videotape started surfacing around the internet, I think last week, of Prince in 1983, before Purple Rain was released. He did a show at First Avenue, and they actually, he did Purple Rain. And it's about a 15-minute version of Purple Rain, give or take. And it sounds like about 75% of that live performance by the band and Prince themselves actually ended up on the record. And if you watch this YouTube video, it's kind of amazing because it's just like, wow, that is cool. And one of the things I never understood as a Twin Cities guy, when the Purple Rain album came out, I remember KQ. KQ, they're stuck in 1965. Unfortunately, their audience, as I joke, everybody jokes about the WCCO audience being really old here in the Twin Cities. Well, I got nothing on the KQ audience now because the KQ audience is starting to die off. Because, they've been playing music from Janis Joplin and, every other song is, who is it, Janis Joplin or Led Zeppelin or, you can pretty much take a shot in the dark and you're going to be right when it comes to what band KQ was playing right now. But back in the day, I remember KQ playing Purple Rain when they actually did play some kind of new music, when they were competing with what was like Rockin' 101 before KDWB went top 40, and then they went kind of top 40 hip-hop like they are now. But yeah, KDWB used to be kind of a rock station in town, and I remember them competing with them, with KQ, and KQ would play Purple Rain, and I never understood why they'd play Purple Rain, but they wouldn't play Let's Go Crazy. As I always thought Let's Go Crazy was kind of a hard rocking song, a harder rocking song, because KQ, has always played rock. So anyways, never understood that, so maybe I should call up little Tommy Burner from KQ Morning Show and say, hey, Tommy Burner, why don't you tell me why you play Purple Rain, but you wouldn't play, Let's Go Crazy by Prince. So anyways. But I gotta say, I love Steve Cannon, but also Tom Bernard. As much as I kind of hated him in the 80s and the 90s, he has been an influence, and I love the guy and gotta respect him. So, plus he's not afraid to say what he thinks. For the most part, it gets him in trouble sometimes, but it gets everybody in trouble these days. Since you can't say Happy President's Day without somebody being offended, right? Going back to that. Come on, I'm beating a dead horse. Move on, move along here. There's nothing to see. One of the things about talking about the Viking Stadium and this whole thing that it's probably going to get done this year, and hopefully it will get done, because I want the Vikings here. But I only want the Vikings in Minnesota if they're playing in an outdoor stadium. I know everybody... Why is it that... Am I nuts? Why is it that everybody seems to accept the fact that they're going to build another dome? I don't want another... Did I say dome? And they're going to build another dome stadium, and it's going to be... I know it's going to be an updated dome, and I don't know if it's going to have a retractable roof or not. I don't think so because of the money. Why don't we just not build a dome and we play real football here in Minnesota? We've become such pussies here in Minnesota with this dome stadium. Well, you drive over, 300 miles to Green Bay? Not even 300 miles. 250 maybe? 225? Something like that. 220, 221, whatever it takes. We'll get you to Green Bay from the Twin Cities. And they play outdoor football there. In Chicago, they play outdoor football. In Buffalo, they play outdoor football. In Boston, they play outdoor football. Why, oh why, can't we play outdoor football in Minnesota? I thought it was so great when the Vikings had to play at TCF Bank Stadium and Brett Favre, got back out there. The guy was a gamer. Trying to bust his hump, and meanwhile, Bryant McKinnie, he's a nothing. I'm so glad Bryant McKinney's no longer on the team. Good riddance, you scumbag. Of course, he ended up in Baltimore, but I'm glad Baltimore went down the toilet in the playoffs as well. I'm just a little angry at that guy. Doesn't even try. Nothing. A pox on him. Anyway, but yeah. So what we don't want in the Twin Cities, this is what I believe. We don't want a dome stadium. I want to go sit outside in 20 below weather and watch the Vikings play. I want to be in a man's sports stadium. Not this metrosexual, we need to cater to whomever type of audience that the Vikings are trying to appeal to. We want hard-nosed, in-your-face, crunch, 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 smash-nose football, baby. That's what I want. Who's with me? All right, who's with me? Now listen here, Jack. I'm with you. Jesse Ventura stopping by. Neil Peart, Jesse Ventura in studio today. Neil, will you get on mic and say something? Yeah, that's funny. He said modern-day warrior, mean stride. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean pride. Very funny. What are you, Geddy Lee now? Whatever. I don't know. I'm going crazy here. Going crazy out here at the lake. That's what I got to say about that. And I've been to the hospital in Fargo. Anyways, all right. It is really going crazy. Okay, so a little more sports talk here. The Timberwolves and the 76ers last night at the Tarjay Center. I got to say, what a great game that was. I went in not knowing the NBA standings. I assumed that the 76ers were a crap team. I didn't know who their coach was. Apparently, Doug Collins still a pretty good coach, and I think he's been coaching since like the 1960s, I believe. I swear, man, the guy's been around forever. He's either an ESPN analyst or something, or he's coaching somebody. So now he's with the 76ers, and I had no idea that they were a good team. And I started watching them, thinking, these guys seem pretty darn good. Wow, and that Drew Holiday, or whatever his name is, Jrue, are you kidding me? That's how you say Drew now? Oh, boy. Anyways, but that kid, wow, that kid can play the basketball. I mean, he was really good, very impressive player. Ricky Rubio, of course, got off to the great start. Kevin Love kind of did nothing for most of the game, and then, boom, came up big at the end. Very nice by Kevin Love to stick with it and keep rocking. But very good win for the Timberwolves. 3-game winning streak. They're in Denver tonight to play the Nuggets, so hopefully they can get a win. This is their first game against the Nuggets after now playing 4 against Houston, I believe. So, anyways, 16-16 for the Timberwolves. I don't think that's going to get them in the playoffs. I think they're going to probably need about 4 or 5 games over 500. So, I guess they've got, half the season's almost gone now. Only 34 games to go. So it's going to be a quick season for the Timberwolves. But, yeah, very nice. And, of course, the Minnesota Wild on national television yesterday, I noticed, beat the Boston Bruins 2-0. Very nice. They're still dead to me, but very nice. Good job, Wild. How we doing on time here? We've got about 10 minutes left here. Today, and what do I want to talk about? I'll just briefly mention 2 shows watched last night after the Timberwolves. I watched The Apprentice. I love that Ivanka Trump. Boy, she is one beautiful woman. Oh, my goodness. And Don Jr., Donald Jr.'s Donald Trump's kid, he's pretty funny. He's a pretty funny guy. And the cast this year on The Apprentice, I think, actually is appealing to me. First of all, Adam Carolla, love that guy. Of course, if you've never checked out his podcast, great podcast. Of course, he was the host of The Man Show. The guy's doing everything these days. He's also does a little touring. Very honest guy. He'll tell it like it is. Gotta love him for that. Lisa Lampanelli, she's a great comedian. Once again, kind of like the female version of Adam Carolla almost in some ways. Also, the guy from the American Chopper, he was actually the project manager last night. Seemed like a pretty cool guy. I don't know, I've never watched that show, but, seemed like a very cool guy. Who else is on that show? Oh, George Takei. Gotta love George Takei. Oh, my. I love George Takei. There's a Takei. I don't know what it is. Takei, whatever. But he had a funny moment where Lou Ferrigno was taking off his shirt. And if you don't know George Takei, he was Sulu on Star Trek, is a gay man. And Lou Ferrigno's taking off his shirt, and George Takei's like looking at him, and he's like, the camera's cutting back and forth, and it looks like George Takei was about to come out of his shirt or his pants or somewhere. But anyways, that was a funny moment. Also, Clay Aiken was on the show, and he's got a sense of humor about himself. That's what you love. You gotta love people who have a sense of humor about themselves. There's so many people that are so uptight these days, but that they can't make fun of themselves. But it's pretty good. Also, Penn Jillette from Penn and Teller. I love that guy. Very funny guy on as well. And Marta, she was the project manager on the women's side in last night's task. She ended up losing to the American Chopper guy. But Marta from Arrested Development. Job, where have you gone? And Michael. I'm in love with your brother, my hermano. Anyways, love that show. Glad to see it's coming back as part of Netflix next year. So there you go. All right, let's get to one last thing. One of these, I saw an article on Business Insider this morning, actually, and I want to mention it. It's called 6 Cool Technologies That Will Change Your Life. I thought it was kind of interesting. Number 1 is the cloud. And they mentioned, thanks to Microsoft's Windows 7 commercials, most of us know the term the cloud. Of course, the cloud is like storing your files in the cloud, or like your Facebook photos or whatever. Very cool stuff. And one of the things they say is, imagine custom ordering shoes by putting your foot on a touchscreen. Pew! No more libraries. Okay. Having video access to experts to help you with anything, and what golf club to choose, and why your souffle fell. Anyway, so I guess I see it as the cloud is, I want everything on demand. If I want to watch a Van Halen video from 1984, I want to be able to access that. If I want to watch Arrested Development, I want to be able to access that. If I want to be able to listen to Beethoven's Sixth Symphony, my favorite, I want to be able to do that from the cloud. If I want to watch Goodfellas, or an episode of The Sopranos, or I missed The Walking Dead, which was actually better last night. That's what I want from the cloud. I want everything on demand. So I know we're getting to that point now, but with Netflix obviously leading the way, and then there's other devices, like Comcast and their Infinity offering, and DirecTV. So competition is a good thing, baby. I love it. Competition breeds more and more great stuff. One of the other things they mentioned in this article is analytics, which basically means, imagine if your tennis coach could instantly match your mechanics to the world champions, or searching through videos and audios to find the exact quote and discussions from similar subjects. So let's say I want to say, what episode did Christopher say, he demand, you demand, I demand, who demand, on The Sopranos? Well, that episode I just happened to watch yesterday while I was batching it, and it was the, not the Happy Wanderer, not D-Girl. What was that episode called? Damn it! Oh, well, what am I going to do? Anyway, so what else is on the list? Something called Hadoop is analytics technology, also known as big data technology. It says, imagine biomedicine apps that can crawl millions of patient records and medical journals instantly. An automated personalized shopper can always find the best deal for you, or law enforcement agents can instantly map a crime with an action with similar other cases. I didn't think the police actually responded to crime anymore. Is that still happen in certain parts of the country? I guess in rural areas they do. Anyway, so another thing on the list is IPv6. It's basically an internet protocol. Currently, it's called IPv4. And with IPv6, basically anything can have a what's the word I'm looking for? Anything can have an IP address. That's what I'm looking for. And it's just an insane amount. It's just like, what is it? It's 95 or 2 to the 95th power, something like that. Just insane numbers. But anyways, it's kind of cool because they say, imagine everything in your home and everyone else's home can be connected to the internet. Your appliances, your doors, your windows, cameras, mirrors, bathroom scale, everything. Oh my God, not my bathroom scale. Your plants will be able to tweet when they need water, and your fridge will be able to call you when your spouse uses the last egg. Well, that's kind of cool. So yeah, that's a cool technology. I know this is kind of death here. A couple more. Low power sensors. Imagine never getting stuck in traffic jam because the traffic lights reroute you. Also attaching voice commands to anything. Your wine cellar, tweeting if it gets too warm. I know all of you probably have wine cellars just like I do, you know, and I've got to go check mine because I think it's getting a little warm in there after I take a schwitz. And then also never again losing your keys. Well, there you go. My Jennifer would appreciate that. I'm in trouble. All right. And then finally, 3D printing, which is kind of interesting. Imagine printing nuts and bolts. It's like the replicator from Star Trek, speaking of Sulu, where, you know, hey, if you want a turkey dinner, it can make a turkey dinner. Well, not in this case. It can only make kind of like plastic kind of stuff. So if you need an extra plate because the family's coming over, well, there you go. You can have a little extra plate made, or it can make, you know, nuts and bolts, or, you know, apart from, you know, your kids' toys or something like that. You know, it's in its infancy, but yeah, it's a cool technology that's on the way. So there you go. Kind of death, but I guess that's what I get for doing it. So what are you going to do? All right, let's get to first customer. I want to be your first customer. Are you sick of being on welfare? And I hope you are. Are you sick of being on disability? And I hope you are. Are you sick of being unemployed? I hope you are. Are you sick of that crappy job in Minneapolis and you think your boss is an idiot and the place has got 2 microwave ovens because the guy is some sort of crazy guy? I don't know what that means. It's an inside joke. But maybe you're sick of that job. Well, I want to be your first customer. I want to encourage you to start your own business. If I can do it, because I've done it several times in the past, not to say that I was successful each time, or maybe even this time, but still, success is measured by being happy. And I don't think there's any future in being on welfare or sucking on the government tit. So I would encourage you to create your own business. You don't have to be in the Twin Cities to do it. That's why the Lord invented the U.S. mail system, right? Bada bing, bada bing, bada bang. I guess that's why the government invented it in that case. Church and state, baby. There you go. But yeah, or FedEx, of course, which is a private company. Yay, FedEx. And UPS too, for that matter. Maybe you're a good welder and you want to start your own business and you want to, you know, make, I don't know, trailer hitches, or you can make, you know, bookshelves, or you can, you know, cook, you know, sell your brownies via, I love brownies. I mention that every day, I think. Sell your brownies via mail order. I want to be your first customer. So I'm not saying I can afford, you know, if you're building a, you know, $45,000 chopper because you want to compete with American Chopper out of Orange County, New Jersey, or whatever it is, New York. Not saying I could be your first customer there, but I could recommend you on the website and in the show. So I want to help. I'm not trying to be noble. I just want this country to turn it around, and I want people to stop sucking from the government tit. And you can do it. I know you can, because if a moron like me can do it, you can do it. See, grammar good I have. Not too shabby, huh? And speaking of the disability thing, I'll just get to this really quick. In my mind, everybody's on disability now. What the hell is this shit? Did I just say that? I'm sorry. But it frustrates me, you know? It's like Rodney Dangerfield at the end of Caddyshack. He gets hit by the ball. Oh, my arm. Oh, put him on disability. The guy should spend 20 years being disabled because he hurt his arm. No. When I grew up, being disabled meant that you were in a wheelchair. You had a visual problem. Here, there's so many damn spots when I go to Cub Foods that are for the disabled, and it's like they're all full, and I see these people get out of the cars, and they're fine. There's nothing wrong with these people. This is not being disabled. You want to do something better with your life than sit and suck on the government tit. Please, I beg you, let me be your first customer. All right. Got a little carried away there on my rant. So, of course, I'm going to be building out the website, hopefully. I'm still waiting for my first customer. It may take 120 shows. It may take 1,000 shows. But one day, you're going to email me and say, I want to be your first customer, TC. And I'm going to say, hot damn, hallelujah, boom, I'm your first customer. What can I buy from you? That's what I want. Even if I can't use it. As long as I can afford it, I'm going to buy it from you. And I sure as hell hope I can be your second customer, third customer, and you can make me a reoccurring customer. And I'm going to tell other people about your product. So there you go. All right. Had a little worked up today. Ooh, deep breath. Calm and easy. Calm and easy. All right. Let's put it in the book. Big show. Hey, Twin Cities in the book for February 20th of 2012. Of course, you can email me at tc@heytc.com, or you can visit the website. The podcast, we'll probably start doing the podcast stuff sooner than later, but right now it's just available via YouTube. So you can, of course, check us out there, and you can subscribe there as well. I'd appreciate it. We're running a little long today, about 2 minutes long, so let's wrap it up. All right. I'll see you in the emergency room.